Yo, what is up guys? It is Nick or the Notorious Fantasy back in today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is week 3 quarterback start or sit decisions. Will you start this guy? Will you sit this guy this given week? Before I start the video, I'd like to ask you could please go down below and click that subscribe button because not only does it help me, it's actually going to help you guys dominate your whole fantasy football season. So just click that button. It's not that complicated. You're getting a shit ton of videos every single day. They're all amazing. And also follow me on Twitter at NotoriousFNTSY. So this video is coming out on Friday, so the Thursday night game already happened. It has not happened yet for me. Right now, it is 5:30 p.m., right before I go live stream, and I don't know what happened. So hopefully you started the correct guys, sat the correct guys. So Dolphins at Cowboys is the first game of the Sunday slate. Now you're going to be starting Dak Prescott. That was pretty fucking obvious. Dak Prescott torched last week. He was on fire. He was super hot fire. Played amazing. This week, going to be the same thing against the Dolphins. It should be a smackdown. It should be easy for Dak Prescott to have an amazing game. I'm very confident in it, and there's no reason to sit him. You're going to be sitting Josh Rosen. You're going to be sitting Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, Josh Rosen's playing, according to what I've read. He's going to be the starter. I'm a Dolphins fan. It doesn't fucking matter. We're going to get smacked regardless. The Bengals at the Bills is the next game, and you're going to be starting Joshua Allen. Josh Allen has looked good 2 games in a row. He is my quarterback stream of the week type deal. He is the best streamer for this week at the quarterback position. He's going to be amazing. Next week at the Patriots, not so amazing, but the rest of his schedule is good for Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen a lot this week going up against the Bengals, who have allowed a lot of points they allowed points to Jimmy G. So should be pretty easy for Josh Allen to have some pretty good success. Now, we're going to be sitting down Andy Dalton. I know Andy Dalton's one of the top 5 in passing yards in the NFL right now, but I don't think he'll have all that hot of a game going up against a Buffalo Bills defense that is actually pretty solid, so I'm not too comfortable starting Andy Dalton in this matchup. The next game is the Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles. One of my other streamers is Matthew Stafford of the Lions. He had a great week 1, a more okay week 2, but I think week 3 he's going to have a big game going up against the Eagles. We saw it last week. Matt Ryan was able to have his way with the Eagles defense, picking them apart. I know he threw 3 picks, but that's because he's dumb and made poor decisions in the game. Matt Stafford also arguably kind of dumb, but he could be pretty good this week. I'm confident he won't throw 3 picks. Probably has potential to throw 3 touchdowns this week, just like Matt Ryan did last week. And then I'm going to be starting Carson Wentz. Now, Carson Wentz, his whole offense is gone, so that is something to be worried about. I'm worried if I'm starting Carson Wentz. Ertz and Nelson Aguilar are the only ones out there. Alshon Jeffrey, going to be out. Deshaun Jackson, going to be out. It's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be the Zach Ertz and Nelson Aguilar show. We're going to start Carson Wentz, hoping he could score 2 touchdowns, get you 300 yards, but I'm not too sure that's necessarily going to happen, so I would put a caution mark next to that name. Next game here is the Jets at the New England Patriots. Now, obviously, you're going to be starting Tom Brady. Tom Brady last week popped off against the Dolphins. He's going to have a good game this week as well, I believe. Tom Brady is a pretty much every week start at this point now with that loaded wide receiver core. AB, Edelman, Flash Gordon. It's going to look super hot fire out there. Tom Brady is a great start this week, and you're obviously going to be sitting Luke Falk. God, I'm not sure who anyone is starting Luke Falk. I'm not even sure who their other backup is, or if Luke Falk's even going to make it through the game. This is going to be embarrassing. The Jets should just throw up the white flag and surrender because it's not going to look good for them. The next game is the Falcons at the Indianapolis Colts. Now, you're going to be starting Matthew Ice, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan looked pretty good against Philly, threw 3 picks. I think this game he'll make less mistakes going up against the Colts defense. I think he's a pretty much every week start as long as he's playing up against a defense that, in my opinion, isn't super hard to beat. Now, Jacoby Brissett, a lot of guys are saying maybe you should sit him this week. I'm confident playing Jacoby Brissett, but you have to be in a shit situation to be starting Jacoby Brissett. I'm talking like there's no one available and you're playing Jacoby Brissett because I don't think he's a top 10 guy this week, maybe not even top 15, but he is a guy that I'd be pretty comfortable streaming in some situations. Now, the Raiders at the Vikings. I'm going to be starting Kirk Cousins. You like that. Now, Kirk Cousins we have not liked the way Kirk Cousins has been playing. He has not really shown up in these last 2 games. Now, coming back to Minnesota, we need him to be hot. The first game, 9 of 10 for a touchdown. The last game, threw the ball a million times. Looked terrible against Green Bay. Threw a pick, costly pick. I mean, like, it was just so obvious that he shouldn't have thrown the ball there. Just fucking heaved it into the end zone, threw a pick. I think Kirk Cousins should bounce back against the Raiders defense that really arguably is not that good. And you're going to be sitting down Mr. DC, Derek Carr. Now, that is because he's facing the Vikings. If he was playing up against a different team, Derek Carr may be a start. But this week, going up against the Vikings with a solid defense, I would stay away from Mr. Derek Carr. Next game to talk about here is the Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. Probably my game. I've said this in multiple videos. My game of the week. This is going to be a hell of a matchup. The Ravens at the Chiefs. It was last year. We saw quite a battle that the Chiefs eventually won at the end. I believe it was Lamar Jackson's first loss. He never really was losing at that point, but back then he was a running back. Now Lamar Jackson is a full-out quarterback who can actually throw the goddamn ball. It is a goddamn miracle from the fantasy football legends and gods up above us that Lamar Jackson can throw the ball. He is a start, as well as Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is an every week start, and so is Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes probably going to finish as the number one quarterback. He's on pace to throw 60,000 touchdowns at this point, 6 million yards. He looks amazing. They're both starts every single week. I think that Patrick Mahomes going up against the Baltimore defense should not really phase you. He was able to do good last year. This year may even be better because he might even just be a better quarterback this year, and the Baltimore defense not as good as we assumed it was like in the past. Lamar Jackson has that rushing upside, has that throwing upside, looks great. Mark Andrews is his favorite target. Hollywood Brown, everyone's out there. The whole squad's on point. A bunch of Chris Pauls. Lamar Jackson is going to be amazing. Same with Patty Mahomes. Now we have the Denver Broncos going up against the Green Bay Cheesehead fuck Packers. Now, you're going to be starting up Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers every single week is a start for me. The Broncos defense did look pretty solid against the Bears, but that is because Mitchell Trubisky cannot throw the ball at all. He looked like fucking trash. Eventually, I think he will turn it around. Last year, he played pretty... This doesn't even matter. We're not talking about the Bears right now, but the Broncos played pretty solid against Mitch Trubisky last week. Not too worried about that for Mr. Aaron Rodgers. He should have a solid game this week, a solid outing. Now, you're going to be sitting down Joe Flacco because for no reason should you ever be starting Joe Flacco. The elite one, not so elite anymore. Probably going to throw one touchdown, and you're just going to be embarrassed that you started him in fantasy football. The next game here is the Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, you're going to be starting Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is also one of those guys that you can pretty much start every single week. Now, I think that this is a pretty good matchup for him. We saw last week on Thursday night the Panthers defense did not look all that good against famous Jameis. I think Kyler Murray could run, could throw. He's going to look good this week. Now, you're going to be sitting down Cam Newton or Kyle Allen. It doesn't seem like Cam Newton's going to play. I'm recording this Thursday night. If Cam Newton ends up playing, you're still not starting him. You're not starting Kyle Allen. That should be pretty obvious to you. Now, the next game is the Giants at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to be starting famous Jameis, the W Eater. I know, not too confident in him. I was really confident week one. Not so confident week 2. Now I'm back on the W Eater train. Famous Jameis is going to play good this week. He's playing up against the shitty New York Giants. The Giants got torn apart by Josh Allen last week. Jameis Winston could do the same thing with an amazing core of wide receivers. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then O.J. Howard, who he never seems to be able to find on the field. And you're going to be sitting down Daniel Jones. I know this is pretty clear to you. If it was Eli, you wouldn't play Eli. If it's Daniel Jones, you're not going to play Daniel Jones. Personally, I think Daniel Jones is the correct start in real life. They should be playing Daniel Jones. But in fantasy football, you don't even want him on your roster unless you're playing in a 2-quarterback league. Even in a 2-quarterback league, I don't love Daniel Jones. Now, the next game is the Saints at the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to be starting Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, obviously, that's a joke. You know, if you watch other podcasts, you get that joke. Russell Wilson is a start for me this week. The Saints did not look too hot last week against the Rams. I know, the Rams are a good team, but without Breeze, how do we know how well the Saints are going to play? I think Russell Wilson is an obvious start in this game. Has looked pretty solid the past 2 weeks. Now you're going to be sitting down Teddy Roosevelt, Teddy Bridgewater, and Taysom Hill. I don't know which quarterback it's going to be. Maybe it'll be some quarterback by committee like we've never seen before. I don't want either of them this week. Now we have the next game is the Texans at the LA Chargers. Now, I would be starting Deshaun Watson and Phillip Rivers in this matchup. Deshaun Watson had not that great of a game last week. Phillip Rivers not that great of a game last week, but the kicker ended up losing them that game for the Chargers. I think that Deshaun Watson should be a pretty solid start every single week. You drafted him highly. There's no way that you're going to be able to mangle your brain enough to figure out that you should not start Deshaun Watson. He's probably going to be he's a top 10 guy every single week. Phillip Rivers is a guy that I'm comfortable pulling off the waiver wire. He's available on some waiver wires. Pulling him off the waiver wire, slotting him in this week if you're having a trouble at the quarterback position. Now, the next game is the Steelers at the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this is a guy that I like a lot this week, and that is Mr. Jimmy Garoppolo. He is a start. The Steelers looked defeated last week with Mason Rudolph, obviously a sit. Jimmy Garoppolo has been tearing it up. Now, I know he's played against 2 terrible defenses. The Steelers defense is probably better than both of those teams that he's played before combined. But I still think Jimmy Garoppolo could have a solid game this week, and I like him this week. The next game is the Rams at the Browns, the Sunday night football coveted matchup. So we are going to be starting Jared Goff for the Rams. Obviously, Jared Goff played pretty good last week going up against the Saints. I think this week he could do a repeat, play pretty well against the Browns defense. Now, obviously, he's not a top 3 guy this week. The Browns do have a solid defense, but I do like Jared Goff in this game. On the other side of the ball, we have Baker Mayfield of the Browns. Mr. Hold My Nuts, you know what I'm saying? Baker Mayfield is electric in real life. I think he's going to have a good game this week. He needs to realize that he can't be putting his receivers in so much danger. He threw the ball to David Njoku, and David Njoku got leveled. And who knows if David Njoku will be back this year. He looked pretty fucked up. I hope that he's okay, but I would start Baker Mayfield this week going up against the Rams defense. The final game, Monday Night Football, Bears at the Washington Redskins. Now, you're going to be starting Mitchell Trubisky. Now, I know, Nick, you just talked about before how terrible Mitch Trubisky is, but the Redskins defense has looked god-awful, and if there's one time for Mitch Trubisky to be able to throw the ball to the left side of the field, it would be tonight, or not tonight, Monday night, because I'm recording this on Friday. Knock one time if you're with me. Mitch Trubisky should have a pretty good game this week. I would think he would finally be able to turn it around against the Redskins, because if he doesn't start to turn it around now, it is not going to happen for him this year. He's going to kiss those titties all over the Redskins defense. Now you're going to be sitting down Case Keenum. Case Keenum should never be in your mind for a guy to start. He's put up solid fantasy numbers, but you don't want to start him at all against the Bears. The Bears defense can lock down pretty much any and every single quarterback in the NFL, and I just don't think that Case Keenum is anywhere near the caliber of a quarterback that would be able to have his way with the Bears defense. So thank you guys all for watching. If at any point in the video you were like, God damn, that was funny, or God damn, that was great, that was just the greatest video maybe ever, click that subscribe button. Click on one of the videos that's also on your screen right now. Have a great goddamn day. I love you all. Goodbye.